Fields of Mistria got its first major update on November 18th, which many people have been waiting for, myself included. One of the biggest additions being new hard events, mine levels, crafting recipes, festivals, and so much more. Hello everyone and welcome back to another 100 days video. Well, actually it's 112 days, but you know 100 sounds a lot better on YouTube. Because this was my first time playing Fields of Mistria, I didn't have any specific goals in mind. I just wanted to try and see what the game has to offer and how much I could accomplish within the first year of playing. But you'll notice very soon that I'm a huge fan of animal husbandry, so I'm gonna focus on getting as many different color variations as possible. That's all I have to say for my intro. Now sit back, maybe grab a snack, and enjoy the video. The very first thing we see is a cutscene with Aland and his sister Adeline, who are discussing the next step for the town, as they desperately need help since they recently got hit by a bad earthquake and lack the people to rebuild everything themselves. Adeline suddenly got an idea and mentioned that there is an old farm south of the town that she's willing to give to someone in return for helping them earn back the town rank. They wonder who might take them up on the offer, and then we're at the character creator. One thing that immediately stood out to me is that you're able to set your own birthday, which is very nice, but also how detailed you can design your character, considering that this is a pixel art game. And I appreciate the amount of long hair options they give you, something that even nowadays is still lacking in a lot of games. Once I was happy with everything, I decided on the farm name, Harvest Hub. Yes, I googled that, because I'm lazy, and we finally arrive in Mistria. The first person we meet is Baylor, a traveling merchant, who has a smaller shop located in town. He asked if I'm here for Adeline's request, and I wanted to be honest and just said, yeah, I'm interested in the free house. He accompanied me on the farm, and upon arriving there, we got to meet Aland and Adeline in person. Adeline just finished the house interior, and it looks incredibly cozy. I love the aesthetics of this game. Inside I got a quick tutorial on how everything works. It's basically the same as in Stardew. Go to bed before 2 AM to avoid passing out, a calendar to check for events and birthdays, but also you can save your progress whenever you want to, which is such a nice feature. Adeline gave me a vegetable soup as a welcome gift, and then it was already time for bed. Upon waking up the next morning, I had Celine waiting for me outside. She has a passion for flowers and lives in a cottage north of the farm. She handed me an old hoe and a few tulip seeds. Shortly after, we got interrupted by Hayden. He owns Sweetwater Farm, and from him I can buy livestock in the future. Also, I love his horse, it's so cute. Same as Celine, he gave me another tool, which is the trusty watering can, and more seeds. With that, I have everything to get started on my farming career. After planting the seeds, I made my way into town. Also learned that you can jump, which I really seem to enjoy. Maybe a bit too much. I collected some forage like berries, dandelion, lilac, and discovered that you have very limited backpack space available. In town I stumbled upon Adeline, who showed me the town request board, where I can accept different tasks for the townies. And more importantly, introduced me to the renown system. Every town in the Eldaria Kingdom has their own town rank based on its renown level. Mistria is currently at wood level, which is the worst one due to the recent earthquake. My very first task was from Adeline herself, where she wants me to meet everyone around town. And as we can see, there's a total of 22 villagers. For now at least. First stop was the general store, where I ran into Baylor again. Nora is the shop owner together with her husband Hole, and I think she's also Celine's mom, but I don't quite remember. As well as head of the commerce and Saturday market, which unfortunately hasn't been able to operate due to the broken bridge we saw when we arrived. I purchased myself 1 bag of potato seeds and completely forgot that my inventory was full. And by then, I didn't know that you could just leave items on the ground and pick them up later again. I got rid of the fiber I had, but yeah, it's not a big deal. Still, that bag upgrade I saw in the shop is going to be top priority. I sprinted back home to deposit all my items in the chest, and then I was back to meeting more townies. The Sleeping Dragon Inn is owned by Reyna's family, her mother Josephine and her father Hemlock. By the way, if I mispronounce any of the names, which I'm sure I'll do, then please correct me in the comments down below. There's quite a few characters in this game where I never heard their names before, so I'm just guessing how to say them. To the left of the town building is a spot with a bigger tree where the kids meet up every day. Maple, Luke and Dell. The map was incredibly helpful while looking for everyone, as it shows the exact location of the people, even the ones you haven't met yet. The blacksmith is housed by Ulrich and his super friendly brother Marge. The local bathhouse is owned by everyone's favorite YouTube thumbnail Juniper, who has the most adorable dog, Doozy. Valen is the only doctor in town. Dorithia, who has the most insane biceps I've ever seen. She lives down by the beach and owns a smaller fishing shop where I can buy a rod for myself. I don't know what I was doing here because clearly I wasn't paying attention and forgot about her shop pretty much instantly, So for the next few in-game days, I'm gonna be wondering where to get my fishing rod. But don't worry, I'll figure it out eventually. And lastly, we have Lantern and Rice, the two local carpenters. Surprisingly, I did manage to find everyone in a single day. The next morning, I got woken up by Ayland, who was chopping down trees outside my farm. He wants to remove this tree as it apparently covers up very important stonework. I helped him cut down the tree, and sure enough, there was a dragon statue behind it. Ayland told me that this is a statue of Caldarus, the mythological guardian of Mistria. As a thanks for helping him, he let me have the axe, and upon examining the dragon statue, the text says it almost seems alive, which is not worrying at all. I'm sure it's fine. While watering my crops, I got my first level up, which is in farming, and while looking for the menu, I saw that there's actually quite a lot of different skills in this game. In town, I turned in a quest for Adelan, which earned me my first renown points, more potato seeds, and some money, which I learned is called Tesserae? I'm just gonna say gold if that's cool with everyone. I had a bit of trouble, but eventually managed to find the museum, where Errol, the museum curator, gave me an overview of how collections work in Mistria. Besides artifacts, bugs, and fish, I can also donate forage and crops, which is pretty cool. Each set consists of 5 items, and upon completing these, I earn renown and various other cosmetic rewards. I donated the 1 dandelion I had with me, then met with Ulrich, who handed me his old pickaxe. Also, can we talk about how Ulrich is not a romance option in this game? That should be illegal. For an embarrassing amount of time I was looking for Rice to turn in a delivery quest, but for the absolute life of me I couldn't find him. So after 10 I gave up and went back home. After going to bed I had a very interesting dream. The dragon statue appeared before me and introduced himself. He thanked me for repairing the shrine and asked me to collect essence so that he can regain more of his strength. This is where we get introduced to the skill perk menu. Each skill has its own unique perks that I can unlock by collecting essence. The guardian told me to speak with him tomorrow by the shrine, and then my dream ended. I finished a total of 3 quests today, which brought us up to wood rank level 3. Next day I got a letter from Adeline, who wants to start the repairs on the broken bridge east of town. After tending to my crops, I had a chat with Caldarus, who gave me the ability to collect essence from now on. Then I was off to the museum, where I finished my very first set and unlocked a new cosmetic item. That's also when I noticed that you can change your outfit whenever you want to. There's no wardrobe, you just have everything in your menu, which is very convenient. Next to the request board is a wooden box where I can pick up the rewards I get from leveling up the town rank. This gave me another accessory, but also a bit of gold. Later I met with Adeline, Rice, Baylor and Nora to discuss the Broken Bridge project. Rice has enough experience to repair the bridge himself, though they are lacking the necessary materials, and that's of course where I come in. I don't know why he needs 60 wood, considering that this is a stone bridge, but I'm not gonna question that any further. So 60 stone and 60 timber it is. Since I didn't really have anything better to do, I started on gathering the materials right away. In the evening I had enough essence collected by now, which you can see under the amount of gold that I have, and unlocked my first skill point in farming, which is the prepared picker. Now forageables will have a chance to drop their seeds. The rain poured down on day number 4, which means that I don't have to waste any energy on watering crops. Not that it really matters, considering how few plants I actually have, but still I'm happy nonetheless. I visited Celine in the morning, who has a super cozy house, and gifted her a dandelion. At the inn I met with Luke, who handed me his old bug net so that I can help him document the insects around Mistria. Of course I told him that I have to catch them all. I made my way over to Hayden's farm, where I got my first wild lilac seeds, thanks to the skill point I picked yesterday. Inside Sweetwater Farm I had a look at the animal shop, and I was surprised to see how many different color variations there are. Very excited to get into ranching. The reason why I came here is because there was a symbol on the map saying that there's still someone I haven't met, and sure enough, I got acquainted with Henrietta, Hayden's prize-winning chicken. And I can even pet her. I love that. Later in the evening, I found new forage as well as my first critters, a snail and an ant. I went to the museum to donate the new findings, and was shocked to see that the snail cannot be donated, which is a bit discriminating if you ask me. You're telling me that the ant is more interesting than the snail? Okay. Upon going to bed, I got another town level up. This happens pretty much every day at the beginning, so I won't be mentioning this anymore unless we get to a new town rank status. Day number 5, I got a letter from Reyna, who let me know that Mistria has a tradition where everyone gathers at the inn on Friday nights, and this is my invitation to join them. I'm not gonna say no to a free drink. Looking at the map yesterday, I noticed that there was still an area I haven't discovered, which is the beach. And this is also when I finally found the tackle shop from Terithia, and remembered that she has a rod for sale. I'll come back for that a bit later. In town I picked up my reward money for leveling up the town rank and accepted 2 more quests. With the money I got, I was finally able to purchase the backpack upgrade. One request was from Aland, who wanted some wild berries, which I handed to him shortly after, and he gave me my first cooking recipe, which is for berries and cream. Also noticed that I can use the forge outside the blacksmith to upgrade my gear, which made me wonder when I'll be able to venture into the mines. A good chunk of my day was spent on the farm to collect more resources for the bridge, and after 6, I stopped by the Sleeping Dragon Inn, where I got a free drink from Reina. Everyone in town is actually here, not only the adults but also the kids. The townies at the bar have fancy wine and gossip. Also March was a lot friendlier than usual. Yeah, I smelled that booze a mile away. Celine, Adeline, Baylor, Holt and Aelin play Dragons and Drama, where they all have custom characters, which is just so cute. And Holt's is definitely my favorite. Bad Brad, the bearded bard, has to be the best name for a custom character ever. The kids are also busy since they're planning to do a heist, and they need my help with that. Baylor rents a room at the Sleeping Dragon Inn, and they find it suspicious that he always keeps his door locked and want to find out more about his secrets. I don't know why they think it's odd that Baylor keeps his door locked in a public space that is open for everyone 24/7, but I don't know much about kids, so who am I to judge them? I need to be the distraction, and I'll learn more about the plan next week. I love how each group has their own little side story going on. It really encourages you to come to the inn every Friday. Back at the farm, I unlocked my second skill point in farming, which will give me a stamina boost the following day if I go to bed with 0 stamina. Next day I got a new recipe from Nora, as well as an interesting letter from Aeland, who wants to reopen the mines west of town. Of course I'm eager to finally go spelunking, so I met up with Errol and Aeland at the museum to discuss the process. The reason why Aeland wants to open up the mines again is because there's good ore down there that the town could certainly use, but Errol is completely against it and says we should focus more on the museum to raise the renown level. So Errol used to work in a mine shaft back when it was open if I remember correctly, and he has the key to open them once more. However, to be able to persuade him, we need to raise the town level from Mistria to at least stone rank. I'm really not a fan of these names. By now I had all the materials for the bridge repair, so I dropped them off at this wooden box, but before talking to Adeline, I got kidnapped by Juniper. She had a quest posted for a lilac that she needed to finish a potion. Also the music in the bathhouse is such a banger, I love it. The kids are also here to investigate, as the potion has a very distinctive, or more like disgusting smell to it. That's why she wanted to have the lilac. For some reason I was the one to try the potion, and it nearly killed me. How is this woman allowed to have a bathhouse? Because I'm almost dead, Juniper allowed me to take a dip inside the bathwater, which instantly restored my health and stamina. As a thanks, I am allowed to use the bathhouse for free the next 5 visits. If the bathwater always refreshes you instantly, then I will definitely use this, as this is really OP. Anyways, after nearly dying, I talked to Adeline to let her know that I collected all of the necessary materials for the bridge repair. Shortly after, I met with everyone once more, and Rice repaired the bridge. Oddly enough, the area behind the bridge is still blocked off, and according to the sign, this leads to the deep woods. But it seems like this hasn't been implemented into the game yet. While walking home, I came across the fastest insect alive. That's also when I learned that I can jump into the water, though you cannot use the net unfortunately. So after a whole lot of back and forth, I finally managed to catch a pond skater. After going to bed, we reached town rank, stone level. On day 7 I harvested my tulips and my first potato. Just one, but better than nothing. Juniper sent me a letter with a crystal ball attached to it as another way of apologizing for yesterday's fiasco. I also like the fact that she only sent the letter because her dog insisted on it. Thanks Doozy, at least someone here cares for my well-being. The crystal ball can be placed inside the house and it shows the weather of the following day. Who needs a TV anyways when you have magic? Since we reached stone level now, I met up with Errol and Aelin at the mine entrance. Errol held up his end of the bargain and finally opened up the way to the mines. Inside we spot the old elevator, and Aelin said that there's a checkpoint every 5th level. So nothing new there, but there's also another statue of Kaldarus. Here I can unlock skill points for combat and mining. The first monster I took down dropped the cutest hat. Just look how adorable it is. The same level also had a treasure chest with copper ore and a ruby inside. Besides monsters and ore, there's also unique forage, fish, and even insects down here. As expected, I ran out of energy rather quickly, so I had to return back up on floor 4. Before leaving, I unlocked a skill point in mining, then wandered into town to collect my rewards for reaching stone rank. I should have really come here before going into the mines, as this gave me my first stamina potion. As the name suggests, this permanently increases my stamina. At the general store I bought 1 strawberry and 1 cabbage seed, as I need these for the museum collection. Also, shops are open no matter what time it is, which is really handy. I planted the seeds and then headed to bed. The following morning I visited the manor house for the first time, which is this giant building right here. I don't know how I completely overlooked that up until this point. Adeline had another request for me where I need to help refill the emergency stockpile, as this got depleted due to the earthquake. For that I need to ship 10 crops, and luckily Adeline handed me the seeds for that. After that I dropped off some copper ore for March, which he was very surprised about for some reason. Yes, I did your request. I'm the only person in town who does these. What exactly did you expect? This prompted another tutorial where he showed me how to use the smithing table outside. I can even infuse metal with different powers in the future. Blacksmithing, cooking, and crafting take up in-game time whenever you make an item. I made my first 2 copper bars and already had enough to upgrade the pick, but I was missing the skill level for that. This reminded me that I still haven't bought that fishing rod. Already day number 8 and I haven't even caught a fish yet. That's not acceptable. So I rushed down to the beach and bought the worn fishing rod. Fishing in this game is very similar to Animal Crossing. The fish has to be in line of sight when you cast the bobber, and once it bites, you just click the right mouse button to reel it in. That's it. There's no minigame and I love that. Later I stopped by the museum where I donated all the bugs and fish I've caught today, and I was surprised to see that I already got my hands on a legendary insect, which was the speedy snail. And it sure was speedy. I unlocked my first skill point in fishing, where my bobber now has a greater range to attract fish, and I realized that I had no more space left in my chest. I had to look this up, as up until this point I had no idea how or where to get more storage space. Turns out you can buy chests from the general store or craft it yourself using the crafting bench at the carpenter, and there's even a crafting station in the middle of town, which I just haven't noticed apparently. I made a few wooden fences and stone paths, but for the chest recipe I need to be level 4 in crafting. Since I didn't want it to waste more materials, I decided to just buy one from the store, even though that's very expensive. A few hours were spent decorating right outside the house. The fence is cute, but I'm not feeling the stone path as it can only point towards one direction. On Wednesdays I gifted Ulrich a copper bar for his birthday and then went back to the mines where I hung around most of the day. Besides almost dying to the enemies and finding new materials, I did also manage to reach my first checkpoint. Day 11 I dropped off some wood for Rice, and as a thanks he gave me a free crafting lesson at his shop. Which is nice and all, but I already made some fences yesterday, so I'm good. Back in town I made another copper bar which bumped me up to level 4, and I was able to upgrade my pickaxe. Or so I thought at least. You don't actually upgrade your tools, you just get a new one instead. With my shiny new copper pick, I went down into the mines again, where I found my first artifact, being a perfect ruby. Fished up a cave eel, and once again had a near-death experience because, as in every farm game, combat seems to be more complicated to my brain than Monster Hunter apparently. Before leaving, I obtained another skill point in mining, which will now have a chance to spawn treasure chests, and well armed in combat, for biome-unique armor and weapons to appear in treasure chests. On day 12, I found my first treasure box while fishing, which contained some gold and flour. This reminded me of the oven that is located in the Sleeping Dragon Inn. What's really cool about crafting, blacksmithing, and cooking, you don't need to have the materials on your character when you want to make something. I made myself 5 trail mix, as these are a great energy supply, and this already bumped me up to cooking level 4. At the general store I have bought another wooden chest and 2 cabbage seeds. I spent most of the day fishing, foraging, and exploring when I came across a large boulder that I was able to mine thanks to the upgraded pickaxe. This area had a mysterious looking well, and upon throwing some money down there, I got 1 wild berry jam. Not sure what to do with it, but I have it. I almost forgot that it was Friday, meaning that everyone is at the inn again. I chatted with all the groups, and more importantly with the kids. The Dragon Guard heist, as they call it, now has a fully fledged out plan. On Fridays, Reina cooks cheese and potatoes, which makes Baylor very sleepy according to Luke. I was a bit confused because at first he said I was supposed to be the lookout, and then suddenly he said I have to deliver the cheese and the potatoes to Baylor. So what am I supposed to do now? Guess I'll have to find out next Friday. Now that the bridge is finally repaired, the Saturday market is back in business again, which even has its very own theme. There's 4 different vendors that we can meet. Vera is a hairstylist, Darcy who makes her own treats and coffee, Mary and her antique furniture stall, and lastly Louis sells clothing and accessories. All of these stalls were pretty expensive, and I decided to hold off on buying anything for now. Josephine put out a quest earlier where she wants me to teach about cooking. As I didn't really have anything better to do, I stopped by the inn, where together with Celine, Baylor and Reyna created a delicious meal. Even March showed up as well. Josephine mentioned that I can even have my own kitchen at home if I buy one from the carpenter. This made me realize that I never even checked out the carpenter shop inventory. So I rushed over, and sure enough, there's a home upgrade, crafting and cooking station, and of course also the animal buildings, which I'll be saving up from now on. Sunday morning I had Celine at my front door, who informed me about the upcoming Spring Festival. So the Spring Festival has a unique mechanic attached to it, where you have to collect so-called Breath of the Spring flowers, which only grow here in Mistria. These can be found by doing basically anything: mining, fishing, farming, and the more I collect, the better the festival will be. And there's even prizes for the person who collects the most. The festival is on the 17th, so I have about 3 in-game days to collect as many of these as I can. While harvesting my potatoes, I already got my first one. I thought that maybe the best way to grind for these would be the mines, so that's where I went. I obtained my first armor upgrade from a treasure chest, and shortly after, to my absolute shock, I found a mimic chest. Why? Just why? I was so happy when they kept these out of Elden Ring and now Farm Sim implement these. That is not acceptable.
This is not okay. This needs to stop. Now.
I came across my first treasure floor, which had lots of ore and a miner hat inside the chest. I made it down to floor 10, and I think it was a good idea to come here, as I collected a total of 15 Breath of the Spring. After going to bed that day, I had another dream with Caldarus, who thanked me for helping him regain his strength once more. As such, he rewarded me with my first spell, and upon using it, it fully restores my health and stamina. Each spell consumes mana, which is this blue icon in the left corner, and upon consuming everything, it will recharge in a couple of days again. I haven't seen much about spells in this game, but I do know there's also one for watering your crops, which I'm very much looking forward to. I had enough money saved up now to afford a small coop from the carpenter. I was very unsure on where to place it, but I thought next to the field would make the most sense. I need 70 wood and stone to finish the coop construction, so I spent most of the day on the farm, gathering materials. A bit later I made a copper shovel, which I handed over to Celine, as she posted a quest for this a few days ago. I know I wasted a few copper ingots on this, but it was so worth it, as this earned me almost 1000 gold. On the 16th it was March's birthday, and I have no idea what he would like, so I decided to give him a sapphire, and I think it was a neutral gift. He didn't seem that excited about it. I had a few more items for the museum to donate, and with the cabbage I managed to complete the spring crop set, which gave me a new pair of overalls, and I love it. Then I was off to the mines. I made it to floor 15, and once again I was struggling with inventory space. Before leaving I put another skill point into mining, smelted more copper bars, and with that made myself a copper axe. Celine was waiting outside my door the next morning to collect all of the Breath of the Spring I've been gathering over the past couple of days. I managed to find a total of 33. No idea if this is gonna fetch me a prize, but I guess we're gonna find out in a second. Before heading to the Spring Festival, I of course had to dress accordingly. Cannot just show up in my dirty farmer overalls. Much better. Josephine announced the winners for this year's Spring Festival. Errol came in 3rd place, myself was in 2nd, which really surprised me, and in 1st place was of course Celine. This earned me new decorations for my house. I love that Henriette and Ducey are also attending the festival. I purchased a flower wreath and bottle of Scent of the Spring from one of the stalls, as this is a guaranteed loved item for everyone, as well as a flower crown for myself. Super expensive but also incredibly cute. After placing the new decorations in my house, I finished constructing the coop, then headed down to the beach to do some fishing. While doing that, I noticed that there's a smaller island next to Terithia's house, but the area seems to be blocked off for now. The following day I met up with Adeline in her office to discuss the next bigger town project. This time it's for the old mill next to the general store. Once again I was tasked to gather materials, mainly wood and stone, but also 1000 gold, which I thought was a bit odd. Why do I need to pay for the repairs all alone? Anyways, that's something I'll focus on a bit later. I spent the day finishing various requests. What I love about the town request board is that you can accept multiple of these and they never expire, so you can do them whenever you want to. I caught more fish and leveled up my cooking skill. After going to bed, I noticed that bread sells for a nice chunk of money, way more than any of the fish I've caught so far. So maybe I should prioritize the mill repair after all. Day 19 was an exciting day. It is finally time to buy myself some chickens, which I did of course. Say hello to Bobby and Kiwi. I think feeding animals yourself raises the friendship points with them more, but honestly I don't know. I froze for a second when I realized that you can even pick them up and walk around while holding them. This game is so adorable, I can't. I feel like I still made very little progress up until this point in the mines, so that was my focus for today. And thankfully, I did manage to venture down further, making it to floor 20. Down there I heard strange whispers and found a weird tablet with an unknown language written on it. Seems familiar? I almost forgot it was a Friday, so I quickly rushed over to the inn, and luckily everyone was still present. Alan was of course also there, and I could already inform him about the tablet that I found. I didn't think that he would drag me all the way to his office in the middle of the night, but I guess he was really excited about this find. Unfortunately, he couldn't decipher the text since it is written in a language called Witch Speak, but there might be someone who can help me out after all. Juniper. So together we headed over to her bathhouse and explained the situation to her. Luckily, she was able to understand the text and was willing to read it out loud for us. In short, to be able to break the water seal, I have to present 4 offerings: a ruby, fish of stone, moth, and brown mushroom. Sounds simple enough. I still had enough time to go back to the Sleeping Dragon Inn since I still haven't talked to the kids yet. The heist has to be postponed as the cheese and potatoes I was supposed to give to Baylor are not on the weekly menu this time. Dale wanted to improvise, but the others decided that's not gonna be a good idea. Guess we'll find out next weekend what they did. On Saturday morning, I realized that I forgot to call back in the chickens yesterday. I'm such a great parent. There was nothing useful for me at the market, so I decided to do more fishing that day. Since fishing consumes so much energy, I tried out my spell for the first time, and boom, stamina replenished. In the evening I got started on collecting the materials for the mill repair and unlocked my first skill point in ranching. Sunday was Luke's birthday, and I thought a worm would be a nice gift since, you know, he's into bugs. But I think it was only a neutral item. Yeah, not doing so great with gifting at the moment. I brought the ruby, moth, and mushroom to the altar in the mines, but I was missing the stone loach. So I spent the next few hours looking for water pools in the upper levels. I found a cave shark, my second treasure floor, more artifacts, and with the last bit of energy I had left, managed to catch a stone loach. Upon donating the last item, I got a cutscene where a ghost lady appeared before me, Dragon Priestess to be precise. She thanked me for the offerings and told me to meet her down below. She dropped a heart crystal, which permanently increases my health, and I suddenly had Terraria flashbacks. Back at the farm, I spoke with Caldarus, who noticed that I managed to break the water seal. For this, he rewarded me with the Summon Rain spell. As I mentioned earlier, this one lets me water my crops for free. As Caldarus has regained a bit more of his strength, his memory is also slowly coming back again. There's 5 seals in total in the mines. He cannot remember who closed off the seals in the first place, and I'm very curious if all of these are already implemented in the game, or if we have to wait for that with the full release. This time I didn't forget to send my chickens back into the coop, and after going to bed, we reached town rank copper level. Day 22 I collected my first chicken egg, as Bobby and Kiwi have grown up by now. For breeding, however, I need a few more friendship points with them. For reaching copper rank, I got my second stamina potion, accepted another request, as I do pretty much every day, learned that I can get a free bowl of vegetable soup from the inn, and while there, leveled up my cooking skill once more. Made myself a copper fishing rod and sword, which is a massive upgrade from the regular one I've been using, then spent the evening on the beach to test out the new fishing rod. As I was checking up on my animals the next day, I got 2 shiny beets. I still haven't figured out what to do with them, so if you know, then please comment down below. I spent pretty much the whole day fishing, as I'm still missing quite a few donations for the museum, finished a few more delivery quests, stopped by the Mysterious Well again where I dumped in 500 gold this time and got fried rice in return. Shortly after I fished up a gold treasure chest, which contained 2 silver ingots, and later finished the spring river set. By day 24 I had all the materials for the mill repair, 2 copper ingots, 150 wood, and the stone. Rice got to work and pretty much instantly repaired the old building. Now I have access to more recipes like deluxe animal feed, flour, rice, and various other animal products. After that I checked out the new levels in the mines. Down there I found new fish, hats, bugs, and of course iron ore. Also I nearly died once again to one of the enemies. I really need to get better armor. Before heading back home I smelted the ore into iron ingots and leveled up my blacksmithing skill. Morning on day 25, I received a letter from Hayden, who thanked me for fixing up the mill and invited me for a cup of tea. I do love myself some tea. Of course I went straight over to Sweetwater Farm, where I got a tutorial for animal husbandry. Way ahead of you, my guy. He also let me know that there's an annual animal festival in Mistria, which I am very much looking forward to. As a reward for that, I get a bunch of hay, grass seeds, tea, and renown. Inside Hayden's house, I learned that I can also befriend the animals by giving them gifts, and naturally a liked item by Henrietta are grass seeds. I wanted to do more crafting today, so I spent the morning clearing out debris on the farm, then came across Hayden again and gifted him the tea I got earlier, and discovered another liked item, making good progress. I crafted a birdhouse, scarecrow, and more fences, picked up my reward for reaching copper rank level 22, which was a ranger jacket, and cleared up the farm in the evening a bit more. Friday was spent entirely in the mines. I found my first random furniture item, which was a coral lamp, new forage, and more fish. I still haven't figured out how to deal with mimics, by the way. Anyways, I made it down to floor 25, and as always, I visited the Sleeping Dragon Inn to chat with everyone. According to Maple, this is the fourth and final meeting of the Dragon Guard heist, since the kids are all grounded. So they did actually end up just going into Baylor's room, and of course they got caught. I mean, I could have told you before that that was a bad idea, but since they were in his room, they did find out what Baylor's secret is, and it's that his room is messy. That's it. That's why he keeps his door locked. I'm so invested into all these side stories that are going on every week. Like I said, the adults on the bar gossip and drink wine or beer. Everyone at the cards table is making fun of Ulrich because he keeps winning the game despite him barely even understanding the rules. And I think my favorite is Dungeons and Drama, as I personally only very recently got into D&D games thanks to Baldur's Gate, and I finally understand what it means when someone says they rolled a nat 20. But yeah, I'm very curious to see what's gonna happen in summer. Day 27, I finished a request for Landon and Mary, bought 1 hot chocolate and 2 cooking recipes from Darcy's stall. The hot chocolate I immediately gifted to Marge, as I remember the first time the market was here, he mentioned something about chocolate from Darcy's, and sure enough, it's a liked item. I really enjoy that the characters give you hints and sometimes even just say what items they like. It really encourages you to always speak with everyone. Once again, I was occupied with fishing at the river, pond, and at the beach, where I caught my first large ocean fish in the form of an ocean sunfish. Thankfully, I managed to find a few other new fish as well and finish the multi-season fish set before going to bed. Sunday was the final day of the season. I harvested my snowdrop and lilac, then met with Adeline and Aylin in front of the manor house to start repairing the damage around town, like these holes on the ground next to the fountain, or the random rocks in front of the museum. And last stop was the old path that leads up to the summit, and thanks to March and Rice, it is no longer blocked off anymore. Unfortunately, it was raining today, so the view wasn't that great, but I'll be sure to come back once it's nicer weather again. I stopped by the tackle shop and bought all of the cooking recipes available to me, as I finally came to realize that selling raw fish isn't profitable at all. So I headed over to the inn, where I made some of the new dishes, which brought me up to cooking level 15. Since I know that Errol used to be a miner, I thought he would maybe appreciate the miner's mushroom stew that I had, and what do you know, it's a loved item for him. By the end of the day, I crafted my first 2 wooden chests, organized everything back at the farm, and headed to bed. Summer has officially arrived in Mistria. While cleaning up the farm in the morning, I caught a dragonfly and jewel beetle. I get a first glimpse of some of the amazing new summer outfits, and while at the general store I bought 2 of each crop and 2 sunflower seeds, for some reason. Planted everything back at the farm in a really weird pattern, don't ask why, because I don't have an answer, and then spent the remaining day looking for new forage and fish. Day 30 was Elsie's birthday. I don't think I've mentioned her before at all, but she's Elend's and Adeline's aunt, and that's all I have to say about her. She's not exactly someone I run into very often. I stopped by the smithing table where I crafted 1 iron ring for more defense, and then I was back in the mines. I found a new sword that had +2 more attack than the copper one I've had, so I'll be using this one from now on, and called it a day after getting to floor 30. Next morning I unlocked the Likeable Cooking perk. Now dishes will have a small chance to get a so-called likeable infusion, turning them into universally liked gifts. I'm not quite there yet to mass-produce dishes, but I do want to try to get more into cooking, so that's why I thought it would be neat to have. Then I met with Adeline, Nora, Holt, Celine and Dell over at the general store to talk about official town business. This time Adeline wants to upgrade the store, and I am beyond excited for that. I can already taste another bag upgrade. As per usual, I am in charge for gathering materials, and saying it's a lot would be an understatement. Yeah, that's something for another day. I went down to the beach where I saw that some of the townies even have custom beach outfits. Now that I think about it, I'm pretty sure it's only for the romance candidates. I see what you did there, NPC Studios. Besides marveling at everyone's new outfits, I found some coconuts, a surf beetle, an iris, and summerfish. I also managed to dig up more artifacts, and with that finished the dig site material set, and with the iris the summer flower set. Later I smelted more iron bars, and finally made an iron pick. It is day 32, and I forgot to record.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
Yeah, I know, I'm sorry. So it is my absolute pleasure to show you my presentation skills in Canva and quickly summarize what happened today. First and foremost, thanks to this very handy comment, I now know where to use the shiny beads I get from my animals every day. Right next to Hayden's farm is a small chicken statue where I can trade either 10 or 100 of the beads for various rewards including animal produce, accessories, and even special cooking recipes. I only had a bit over 20 beads this time, and I got my first 2 animal accessories, both hats, one for a duck and the other for a sheep, so I can't check them out yet unfortunately. I found more forage, wild daisy and basil seeds, then spent a good amount of my time gathering materials for the general store expansion, and that's it for the day. I hope you enjoyed this amazing presentation, and if you did, why not leave a like, it really helps me out a lot. On Friday I had my first cucumber harvest, unlocked the lightweight blacksmithing perk. With that, crafted tools will occasionally result in a bonus lightweight infusion, which has a chance to drop stamina orbs. After that I visited Celine at her house, where she explained to me that she's looking for a specific flower. I think this is her 2-heart cutscene. This flower used to grow in Mistria, but she hasn't seen it since she was a kid. I helped her look for a seed and thankfully managed to find one. Celine wants to plant the seed at home to see if she can manage to make it grow once again. At the request board I saw that Luke was asking for a pond skater, and thank God I held on to that. What an absolute pain that was to catch. I dropped off a shipping bin for March, fences for Hayden, I bought a small red barn blueprint from the carpenter, which I placed next to the coop, and later it was once again time to visit the inn. This time the groups have been switched up. The people at the bar, being Errol, Celine, Adeline and Holt, test out the new drinks Hemlock makes every week, and the cool part about this, whenever I talk with them, I get a free drink myself, which is super nice. Ulrich, Marge, Elsie, Landon and Hayden have drawing lessons this season, where Valen is the muse for today, love that. Baylor is the game master for another round of Dungeons and Drama. Eland is playing himself this time, together with Rice, Del and her ma Nora. Terethia and Juniper are upstairs at the former Dragonguard heist spot, and wondered who in town would survive if they were stranded on an abandoned island. My bet was on Hayden, since he's a farmer, and I'm convinced that he would have no issues whatsoever. Since I was at the inn, I handed Luke the pond skater for the request, and in return he gave me a grilled cheese sandwich. This really makes me hungry, even the spread looks delicious. I wanted to hold on to this, I mean, surely this is a loved item for someone, but the 470 gold was way too tempting, so I ended up selling it. Speaking about delicious food, I had my first tomato and corn harvest ready the next day. It was Vera's birthday, one of the 4 vendors from the Saturday market, which really makes me wonder if the merchants are gonna play a more important role down the line, since you know you can befriend them all. At the inn I got my first universally liked dish, which I gave to Hayden. I bought 2 heart treats from Sweetwater Farm, since I finally reached 2 hearts with my chickens, and before going to bed I finished the river fish set, making good progress on the museum collections. Day 35, I saw a tiny egg located inside the coop. Not for eating this time. I spent the entire day down in the mines. I don't really have much to report, besides finding a hermit snail and reaching floor 35, that's about it. The following morning I unlocked all the first tier perks in archaeology and went into the mines yet again. I found a weird statue, and upon donating 5 iron ore, it healed me. Not sure if that was a good trade though. A bit later I made it to floor 40, where I saw the dragon priestess again, and she told me to break the earth seal next. Also I completed the tide insect collection. Tuesday I spoke with Juniper about the earth tablet I found yesterday. However, she needed a bit of help with the translation this time, so we headed over to Celine, where she asked about a specific flower that grows down in a tide cavern. Thanks to the flower codex she's been studying for a while now, Celine was able to help us, and Juniper successfully translated the tablet. Same as the water seal, I have to offer 4 different items exclusively found in the tide levels. A coral mantis, sapphire, archerfish, and jade dolls. After that I smelted the iron I found yesterday and crafted an iron chest piece. I spent a few in-game hours gathering wood on the farm, did a bit of foraging in the evening, and today I finally made some decent money again thanks to all the items and old tools I sold. After going to bed, I saw that the chicken was ready to hatch, and it's red! I decided to go back to soul-inspired names, so Melania it is. Now that I have some money again, I bought myself 2 cows. Before that, however, I had to finish the barn construction, of course. Also had my first watermelon harvest. At Sweetwater Farm, I picked up Gwendolyn, a black cow, and Nido, a brown one. So Melania is a red chicken, which is not only lore accurate, but also this means she's a rarity 2 breed. I don't know much about animal breeding yet, but I do know that if you breed 2 rarity 1 animals, they have a guaranteed chance to make a rarity 2 baby. There's lots of different color variants, and I'm gonna try my best to get as many of these as I can. The watermelon was the last item for the summer crop set. I also purchased more watermelon seeds since they sell for a nice chunk of money, then offered the sapphire and jade dolls to the earth seal and spent the remaining day looking for the archerfish and mantis. I had no luck finding neither of those, but I did fish up a water balloon fish. On day 39, I noticed that whenever I ship a new crop, I will receive a cooking recipe for said crop the next day. I discovered that Rice loves hardwood, which makes sense since he's a carpenter. Over at the shop I purchased myself a crafting station, and before going back home, I made a few deluxe animal feed for the cows. Day 40 came around and I traded in the shiny beads for a recipe and 3 milk. Finished the summer forage set and continued my search in the tide caverns. I did find the coral mantis, but no sign of an archerfish. As per usual, I stopped by the inn later where I got a mint gimlet from Hemlock. I don't care much about alcohol, but this sounds pretty good. Hayden was this week's model for the drawing session, looking good there, pal. Juniper had another odd question this time. She asked who would make the best frog in Mistria, and naturally I said herself, as she already lives in a bathhouse, though she didn't really appreciate my answer. While at the inn I leveled up my cooking skill to 17, and before going to bed I unlocked all the tier 1 skill points in woodcrafting. On Saturday, I once again forgot to record for the first half of the day, and I promise that's the last time this happens. While tending to my animals, I learned that the deluxe animal feed gives 3 shiny beads instead of 1, though I don't know if this is actually worth crafting, considering how long and how many materials it takes to craft. At the market I bought more cooking recipes from Darcy's stall, then decided to go back to the mines, and that's when I realized I wasn't recording. Despite being down here for most of the day, I still had no luck. I managed to fish up every other tidewater fish, but not the archer. Sunday was Celine's birthday. I gifted her a snowdrop flower and it looks like it was the right call. She really liked it. Checking the request board in town, Baylor posted one that day called Tall, Dark and Mysterious. Pretty sure that's a SpongeBob reference. Today I had more luck with fishing and after a bit of time I caught the archerfish. I offered it to the shrine, broke the water seal and the priestess showed up again. She told me to collect more essence to produce, which I thought was a bit weird. I got my second heart crystal and left after that since I wasn't really in the mood for more spelunking. By now cooked dishes became my main source of income, so I spent some time at the inn making more food. Upon returning back to the farm, I had a chat with Caldaros, who gifted me the most useful spell yet, Growth. This instantly grows any crops in a 3x3 area. By day 43, my cows were fully grown up, which means I'll be having a daily supply of milk. This is super handy as milk is used in quite a lot of cooking recipes. I got a letter from March where he wants me to meet him at the blacksmith, and since I didn't really have anything else to do, I met with him shortly after. Upon arriving, he called me out for being a fraud, helping everyone around town, and that I'll ditch the place as soon as things get tough again. I do not have time for drama, nor do I tolerate any nasty allegations, so I just responded with, "Jealousy is an ugly thing." So why am I here exactly? Remember, you're the one who sent the invitation? He did actually give me an infused bronze hoe, so he can be nice after all. After this delightful event, I went back into the mineshaft. This time I was looking for copper ore in the upper levels. Later I finished the upper mines foraging set, dropped off the copper ingots at the supply box for the general store upgrade, and finally unlock the Welcome Home for ranching, where new bought or born animals will start with 1 heart already, which is gonna save some time when it comes to breeding. And we reached Town Rank Ruby. The next day I donated more beads to the chicken statue and got my first cow accessory. So cute. In town I picked up my 3rd stamina potion, accepted another request from March, who finally realized that I am indeed the only person who does the delivery quests, so he wrote the message directly towards me. Rude, as per usual, but money is money no matter from what person. At the mill I processed my first cheese, which I gave to Luke for a request he posted weeks ago. I also gave March the ore he wanted, not like he deserved it, then chopped down trees on the farm until it was nighttime. On day 45, I tried out the growth spell for the first time. Might have been a bit of a waste on the watermelons, but whatever. Today I had all the materials for the general store. The wood, stone, iron, copper and the 3000 gold. There better be a bag upgrade after this. Together with Rice, we both refurbished the building. It doesn't look much different outside, nor inside actually, but there is indeed a bag upgrade, and more seeds. I don't quite have the money for that yet, so for now I just bought some tea seeds and a bit of rock salt that I used for cooking shortly after. With that I made canned sardines and dried squid, crafted a wheelbarrow for selling, and fished at the pond until I ran out of energy. Next morning I had enough money to buy that bag upgrade, and I can finally breathe again. I was feeling adventurous, so I decided to check out the new levels in the mines. I found my first silver ore, earth shrooms, funky looking fish and bugs. I unlocked the treasured perk for having an increased chance of finding treasure chests, smelted the silver ore and crafted a silver pickaxe. Friday came around and I got an invitation from Adeline to meet her at the manor house. At first I thought this was another main quest where we have to repair something around town, but upon rewatching this, I think this is her first heart event. Not sure though. She gave me a free chariot heart after we were done, so that's nice. I spent some time at the pond, since I am still missing a lot of fish for the summer pond collection, and so far I only managed to catch turtles from there. Fortunately I did have more luck today and fished up a lake chub and Sauger? Sauger? That? You know what I did later in the evening. Of course I got my weekly drink from Hemlock. This time Juniper asked who would make the best pirate in Mistria. And obviously that would be myself. Have you seen my Stardew character? On 48 I got a letter from Tirithia who wants to meet up at the beach and discuss new projects to spice up Mistria once more. Sounds intriguing. It's Elan's birthday and I decided to gift him the strawberry shortcake his sister gave me when I first arrived here. I hope it's still good, but he didn't seem to mind the old cake flavor. At the inn I leveled up my cooking skill once again, crafted one ornamental ruby rock since it sells for a nice amount of money, and I gotta say, crafting is by far the skill you level up the slowest. I'm currently only at level 9 and I've made quite a lot of things up until this point, so not sure if this is intentional. Sunday morning I met with Tirithia and Adeline at the beach. Tirithia pointed out that the smaller island next to her house is a great spot for foraging and fishing, but the earthquake destroyed the bridge that led over there. Yeah, it's another bridge construction. Thankfully this time I don't need to collect that many materials for it. I had a look at the collection tab at the museum and decided to dedicate the rest of my day to try and finish one of the summer fish sets. While I did get some new fish, nothing was for donating unfortunately. And by the way, I love Celine's beach outfit. It's so adorable. I headed over to the dig site on day 50, which I kind of forgot even existed. Good thing I came here today as I found my first legendary artifact, an ancient royal scepter. At the blacksmith I made an iron fishing rod, which I should have done a lot sooner since this increases your bobber range. Up until this point I've been hoarding most of the eggs my chicken produced, and I turned almost all of them into mayo at the mill. I purchased a level 2 kitchen over at the carpenter so that I don't have to run to the inn every time I want to cook, and then fished at the pond in hopes of getting new fish. Alas, I had no luck with that. Next day I bought 2 hard treats for my cows and also this super adorable seesaw for the chickens. I placed it right outside the coop, but for some reason my chickens are always stuck on that fence, no idea why. I spent a good chunk of my day in the upper levels of the mines. I came across another mimic, but this time I was prepared. All you have to do is throw food at them. Love that. And thanks again to this comment, I would have never figured that out myself. I found another treasure floor, crafting recipes. I was actually here to yet again look for new fish that I was missing, but of course I didn't find any. Rice sent me a letter the following day to inform me that they now have medium barn and coop blueprints. Very excited for that. Got my first tea leaves and saw Melania and Kiwi on the seesaw. Yeah, that was so worth the money. A bit later I met with Elin, where he showed me an old mural next to the manor house. It's a stele? Steel? This ancient monument holds a legendary set of armor worn by someone called the Dragonsorn. It is said that the Dragonsorn were nearly mythological beings who aided the dragons in the ancient days. You don't say, pal. I have a mythical dragon statue on my farm, which I can talk to on a daily basis. Jokes aside though, this was probably my favorite cutscene so far. I really like the storytelling in this game, it's so good. Upon inspecting the monument further, we noticed that there was a hidden compartment and it had the dragon-sworn greaves inside, which he brought over to the museum shortly after. After that, I bought a second red chicken from Hayden's farm, don't know why I didn't do that earlier, and then did some slight deforestation around town as I ran out of trees on my farm. 53 was spent entirely exploring the new levels in the mines. I found so many new things: a pebble minnow, glowing mushrooms, crystal lamp, a few crafting recipes, and a crystal wing moth. Not enough to finish any of the new sets, but it's good progress. On Friday I had my first sugarcane harvest. Gave some homemade berries and cream to Maple as it was her birthday. More wood chopping around town. Thankfully these trees regrow within a few days. With the wood I got today, I had everything ready for the bridge repair at the beach. Together with Terithia, we got to work right away, and it looks fantastic. Now I have access to this little island where there's lots of forage spots, another well that restores a bit of stamina, and of course, more space to fish. First one I caught was a char, and that was the last one I was missing for the summer ocean set. This rewarded me with 2 new bed blueprints. In town I smelted the silver I found yesterday and then made a silver axe. This week at the inn wasn't all too special, though Henrietta was the muse for the drawing club, and I reached 2 hearts with Hayden, so that's something. After going to bed, I welcomed a new cow to the farm and I named her Nefeli. Lots of mail the next day, one from Hayden who invited me to a little get-together at the farm, can't say no to that. Landon requested some lumber for a project they're working on, and Terithia let me know that she now sells iron fishing rods. I learned today that peaches give 4 beets when feeding to animals, so I should really buy some fruit trees next season. I went over to Sweetwater Farm, where Valen, Rice, and Hayden were already waiting for me. Valen brought a veggie plate with homemade dip, and once again, that sounds super nice. I really need to eat after this. Rice came with his favorite board game, and Hayden made some popcorn. Shortly after, Marge also arrived, and for some reason he really didn't like that Henrietta was in Hayden's house and sitting next to us. Having a chicken as a pet isn't the weirdest thing I've seen. I mean, hell, even I have 2 miniature chickens at home. And Henrietta is so much more to Hayden, she's family to him. Yeah, sim for Hayden, sue me. At the Saturday market, I was busy with finishing requests. Cod for Reyna, rice ball for Vera, and I handed Landon the wood he asked for earlier. Turns out the request was actually for Rice for a commission he's working on. He showed me a spot south of the carpenter where he comes during his breaks to relax. He told me there used to be a big tree with a birdhouse in the center, but of course the earthquake destroyed it. I told him it would be a great idea to set up a new birdhouse since they can hardly build it themselves. He will let me know once he has more time for that in the near future. I bought 2 crafting recipes from Mary's stall, then I was occupied with fishing at the pond yet again. This time I did manage to find a brown bullhead, but I'm still missing 1 more fish to finish the summer pond set. Sunday morning I had Elsie waiting for me outside. She informed me about the Shooting Star Festival, which came with the recent update. Every year the people of Mistria gather to watch the stars with friends and family. I can also ask someone to watch the stars with me at the summit by giving them a star brooch. So I looked this up, and it turns out you unfortunately need to have at least 4 hearts with one of the romance candidates in order to give them the brooch. The most hearts I currently have with someone is Celine, and she's only at 3 hearts. I gifted her another snowdrop flower to try and push her up to 4 hearts, but sadly it wasn't enough. Back at the farm I crafted 2 more chests. For the last time this season I fished at the pond and managed to catch a giant koi, the final piece for the summer pond fish collection. After 8 I made my way into town, and I thought there would be another festival stall like there was at the spring event to buy exclusive items. That's why I've been hoarding so much money over the past couple of days. But no, everyone has their own little spot and is watching the stars. I looked around for a while, and yeah, it doesn't look like anyone is selling something. There was nothing left to do, so I headed to the summit and watched the stars alone. Gotta say, it's a really nice view up here though. Monday the 1st was Valen's birthday. I didn't really have anything for her stored at home, so I bought 1 glass of red wine from the Sleeping Dragon Inn since that's a liked item for her. Also, fall outfits, super cute. As per usual when the season changes, I bought all the new seeds available to me at the store, and this time I also purchased some fruit trees, 2 apple and orange saplings. Planting everything back at the farm took up most of the day, and I made a better layout for the crops. I have no idea if you can move fruit trees, and after a bit of back and forth, I decided to plant them left of the house. They'll be ready in about 14 days. Once I was done with the crop layout, I tested out the growth spell, and ta-da! rice, onion and wheat already fully matured on day 1. Now I can harvest them every 3 days. I still had a bit of time left before bed and I used that to look for new flowers and other forage. On 58 I unlocked the bountiful tier 2 perk in farming. Now watering a crop will occasionally drop a seed, which sounds crazy OP to me. I met with Hayden, Adeline and Reyna over at Sweetwater Farm to prepare another batch of emergency rations for Mistria. Remember in spring where I already did that with the turnip seeds? Yeah, this is part 2 of that quest. They want 10 cheese and 12 eggs. The eggs I already have, but once again the milk is a bit more tricky, we'll have to wait a few days for that. I made my way down to the beach to do some foraging, found a hermit crab and caught a shark shortly after, my first fall fish. Dropped off everything new at the museum and finished the beach insect collection. I'm planting more and more crops each season, so I thought it was finally time to get a new watering can. The wheat I got earlier was turned into flour and then processed further into bread. Also made some deviled eggs now that I have the horseradish for that, which brought me up to cooking level 25. By day 59 I had exactly 100 shiny beads. For that I got 6 golden cheese. Yeah, I don't know if that was worth it. It is a locked item for Hayden, but I'm gonna stick to trading only 10 of these for now. I had just enough money to purchase a medium coop blueprint from the carpenter, then stopped by the clinic where I got a cutscene with Valen. She was tending to Hayden, who twisted his ankle by tripping over a sack of grain. Wait, what? My guy, I just saw you standing at your farm like a minute ago. When did that happen? Hayden was super dramatic about this, even saying that Henrietta has to arrange his funeral, but he has a point though. If he cannot move for 2 weeks straight, who will take care of his precious crops, and more importantly, his animals? Valen constructed me to go down into the basement and retrieve some fluid from a barrel. Didn't even know she had a basement. Down there, I'm suddenly getting Graveyard Keeper flashbacks. I know she's a doctor and all, but man, this stuff looks odd. I do love that everything is pink and purple. Whatever that was in the barrel instantly cured Hayden. You're not gonna question that? At all? No? Okay. After my checkup, I asked about her, and I quote, creepy basement, which she really didn't appreciate, and kinda just brushed over. So, Valen is also someone who works with magic, same as Juniper. She just became so much more interesting. Since it was raining, I decided to spend some time fishing by the pond, and later unlocked Perfect Catch. Now uncommon and rare fish will be more likely to find. Finished the medium coop construction the following day. I know the layout looks a bit weird at the moment, but it's a work in process. Bought more heart treats for the chickens and moved all of them over into the new building. Same as Rice, his uncle Landon loves hardwood, which is super convenient, makes it a lot easier to befriend those two. Purchased more seeds at the general store. Finished the fall forage collection that day, which earned me a spring sofa blueprint. Then kinda just smooched around town, looking for any new critters and flowers. Hemlock requested a sapphire a few days ago, which I handed to him on day 61, monster shells for March, then visited Juniper at her bathhouse. She was handing a tonic to Ulrich so that he can get even bulkier, and upon consuming it, he grew rabbit ears. Again, how is this woman allowed to have customers? After Ulrich left, Juniper just casually explained to me that she's using the townfolk for her experiments to test out her potions. She feels the arcane energy around me, makes sense since I can use magic myself, but she knows I'm no threat to her. The reason why she decided to come to Mistria is because there is unique magic here that is worth studying. Instead of using the other townies for her little magic tricks, she suggested that I should become her guinea pig instead. Oh boy, that's something for another day. Friday night it is, you know the drill, time for a bit of socializing at the Sleeping Dragon. At the bar we have Elsie, Rice, Torithia, Landon and Earl, who discuss the latest edition they read for the book club. Valen, Aelin, Holt, Nora and Celine are sitting at the former drawing club spot where Aelin found an old board game hidden in the museum called Lords of the Land. They didn't actually play the game as they couldn't agree on what character each of them should play. Luke, Hayden, Marge and Reyna play Queen Maple's Game of Succession, where they all pitch in their ideas to become Maple's heir. And lastly we have Baylor, Juniper, Ulrich and Adeline upstairs together with Del, who wants to recruit new members for the Dragon Guard. Nobody was really interested in Del's game, well except Ulrich, until she mentioned the treasure she found. While at the inn I made more bread, and on the way back home I found a tiger swallowtail butterfly. Saturday was Mary's birthday, who I'm gifted some wood, as that was the only liked item I had for her. Then I was off to the mines, where I spent most of the day. I found a rock root, a mushroom stool crafting recipe, rock roach, and rock biter. Lots of rocks. This allowed me to finish the deep earth fish, forage, and insect collection. Next day, I unlocked the lucky and unexpected haul from the fishing perk list. Got my first broccoli and cranberry harvest, busy doing random delivery quests, bought new cooking recipes from the inn, visited the beach once again to work on the fall ocean fish collection, and after going to bed, I had a new addition to the vlog. Say hello to Melina, the purple chicken. Monday morning, I had enough milk to process the last bit of cheese needed for the food reserve quest. For finishing this, Hayden gifted me 2 new accessories for my animals, a cheese head for the cows and an egg head for the birds. Over at the carpenter, I purchased a medium barn blueprint, and that really made me wonder when I'll unlock new livestock to buy. I still only have chickens and cows available at the store, but as we can see, there's a lot of other options there. No idea. For now I was occupied with cleaning up around the farm, and I accidentally hit one of my chests, which made a huge mess. I didn't even know you could do that. That day I figured out that the shovel is used for creating paths around the farm. And on day 65, I was still remodeling everything. I put my cows into Hayden's daycare, which is free by the way, super handy, removed the old barn, placed down the medium barn, bought a second chocolate colored cow, and was busy with decorating. I know I could have done something more productive that day, but the layout of the animal buildings has been bothering me for a while now, and I'm really happy with the results. I also crafted some lanterns and hay bale to make it even more cozy. Adeline sent me a letter the next day where she wants to meet up at Hayden's farm for a new project. Always excited for that. So I met with them shortly after. Adeline wants to upgrade Hayden's coop and barn to fit more animal livestock. Finally, I've been waiting for this. This is the biggest project so far. 400 wood, 500 stone, 8 iron ingots, and 4,000 gold. But it's gonna be well worth it. I want those new animals. I am, however, completely out of money, so I made more cheese, flour, mayo, and rice, which was used for cooking shortly after. 67, I visited Celine's cottage, where I wanted to finish a request for her little sister, but got a cutscene with her instead. The Flower Codex describes a seed, which seems to be the one we found a while ago. She's been trying her best to make it grow again, but a seed this old is gonna take some time. We added new soil, watered it just a bit, and never mind, it already sprouted. Celine confirmed that this is indeed the flower from her childhood, and made some tea while I documented everything we learned about it today. I gave Dell the chestnuts she asked for yesterday, fished at the pond to see if I can catch any rain-exclusive fish. On my way to the dig site, I found another legendary artifact, the Lost Crown of Aldaria, Finders Keepers, and after heading to bed, I said hello to a new member of the family, my first blue chicken, and I named her Leda. On Friday, I bought 1 breaded catfish from the inn and gifted it to Reina since it was her big day. I unlocked this really cool dragon statue for reaching town rank 39 and spent the day looking for stone and iron in the Tide Caverns. Later I made a silver sword, which leveled up my blacksmithing skill to 31, and lastly I unlocked my first tier 3 skill point, which was in cooking, dinner for 2, which sometimes creates a bonus extra dish, and it is exactly as OP as it sounds. Funny number day was not that eventful. My fruit trees were fully grown by now, which means I get fresh oranges and apples every 3 days during fall. I treated myself to a new haircut over at Darcy's stall, wavy long twin buns, and swapped on the full ranger set, peak fashion. Caught a razorback at the river, which was the final item for the fall river fish collection, and also finished the fall flower set. Then I was once again occupied in the mines at the upper levels, mainly to gather stone. Monday morning I unlocked the Hasty Blacksmithing perk, which has a chance to infuse crafted armor with a 4% speed bonus. That sounds really nice, and I want to focus on making myself a full set of armor soon, since I haven't done that up until this point. I visited Reina at the Sleeping Dragon Inn, where I was allowed to taste test her new wild berry pie recipe. Shortly after, Adeline came in as well to let us know that Mistria was accepted in a culinary event that has a panel of judges traveling around the country to find the very best food. Reina got incredibly nervous upon hearing the good news, but I told her that if anyone can do it, it's her. Over the past few in-game days, I've been gathering stone and wood non-stop, which paid off today as I had everything ready for Hayden's coop and barn upgrade. To help with this massive project, Rice's uncle Landon came along too, and together we got to work. Now that Hayden's farm is fully upgraded, I have access to ducks, horses, rabbits, and sheep. Of course for that, I need a bit more money again, so I was back to cooking. Upon going to bed that day, I got a notification that there was a fierce wind overnight and we reached town rank iron. The very next day I had Hayden outside my house asking if everything was alright due to the storm. My property wasn't damaged, but his new weather vane went missing. I offered to look for it while I'm out later. After he left, I captured a walking leaf insect and had my first pumpkin harvest. At the chicken statue, I traded in all the shiny beads I've been hoarding and got 2 new cooking recipes and this really stylish beret for any future sheeps. Stopping by the museum, I donated the pumpkin and leaf insect, which completed the fall crops and insect collection. Hayden mentioned that the weather vane blew off north of his farm. I don't know how he knows that, but I looked around the museum area and found it shortly after. It was next to a stone horse statue, and has this always been here? I swear I've been here before. I can offer 100 essence to it, but I don't have that yet. I'll keep that in mind for sure. In town I collected another stamina potion and of course gave Doozy some wood as it was his birthday. I was a bit overwhelmed with the new animal choices, but I settled on 2 mallard ducks as they will provide duck eggs and feathers in the future. 73 was spent in the mines, all day. Found an obsidian blade, mushroom stool from a mimic, and made it to floor 60, which is the final level in the mines, for now at least. A bit unfortunate that I'm already done, but the game is in early access after all, so I can't really complain about that. Thursday came around and I purchased myself 2 horsies, Sparkly and Ed. I returned the weather vane to Hayden and went back to the horse statue to donate the 100 essence. This triggered a cutscene where a purple horse teleported next to me. This is Mistria, and from now on, my very own mount. Best game. As you can see, I was ecstatic about this. She can even jump, and boy am I fast now. A bit later I met with Hemlock, Josephine and Adeline at the inn to propose a new town project. Yep, we're upgrading the inn next. Besides the usual stone and wood, I also need to gather peat, glass and silver ingots. That's gonna take some time for sure. While in town I smelted the ore from yesterday, made a silver fishing rod and helmet, then tested out the new rod at the pond, but mostly fished up turtles. Got my first duck egg on 75, completed 2 delivery quests for Josephine, stopped by the carpenter where I treated myself and bought the lovely cottage furniture pack. It is finally time to redecorate the house, because let's be real here for a second, it's kind of an eyesore. In hindsight, I should have definitely waited with this, as all of these furniture pieces take so much wood to craft, and I need that for more important things later, but whatever, it's done now. I changed out the bed, wallpaper, flooring, window and nightstand, then quickly went over to the inn to chat with everyone. This week's choice for the book club was selected by Landon, who chose a manual for reconstructing a wooden cathedral, which to everyone else's dismay wasn't all that interesting. Elend discovered that the board game they've been playing is apparently banned in 7 countries, 4 provinces and 2 city-states, as the game has a history of turning neighbor against neighbor. Reminds me of Ludo, or Man jaget dich nicht in German. Back at the farm I built a new dresser and table, then ran out of wood, but I'm already loving how it looks. So much more cozy. Next day I purchased 1 red wine from the inn for Louis' birthday, bought the straight long buns from Vera as they fit me more than the wavy ones, processed some cheese, flour and rice at the mill, which took up most of the day. Fall 21st was my birthday. Celine sent me a letter with some rose tea as a gift. I assume only people you have more hearts with send you a birthday present. That or no one besides her likes me. Mistmere and I rode down to the beach where I spent the day fishing. I'm missing 1 fish for the Oceanfall collection, but I didn't find it unfortunately. After going to bed I got my first tier 3 cow, Freya, and I'm so happy she's pink. I haven't mentioned this at all, but I talk to Caldarus pretty much every day and I love that he has so many different dialogue lines. He reacts to basically everything I do, whether that be a cutscene, hard event, or finishing any bigger project in town. It's a very nice detail. I unlocked the Welcome Home Point 2 for ranching. I know this is a farm sim, but animal husbandry in this game is so much more interesting. I tried my luck at the pond again today. Besides frogs, an artifact, and turtles, I got nothing new. But at the beach I caught a sari, which was the last one for the fall ocean fish set. The following morning I saw that my horses were all grown up by now. Now they'll produce horsehair every 3 days. I bought 2 hard treats for the ducks and a few different animal accessories. Put the 2 red chickens in Hayden's daycare so that I have more room for new babies. I need a purple duck, alright? The focus for today was gathering wood, and for that I chopped down every single tree that was in my way, as I finally came to realize that I need a meager 600 wood for the inn upgrade. learned that next to the manor house is also a pond. Really wish I knew that a bit sooner. And caught a striped bass. With that, finished the fall pondfish set. At the carpenter I bought a level 3 kitchen, which is the best one available at the moment, which I tested out the next day and made a sea bream rice. I unlocked the tier 3 perk Barnyard Bounty, where ducks and horses have a chance to produce extra items, then decided to spend my time in the upper levels of the mines, where I found a rock gooby and 2 minor pickaxes. This finally let me finish the upper mines artifact and fish collection. The other pickaxe I gave to Ulrich, which he requested ages ago. I think this was one of the very first requests I accepted back at the beginning of spring. On Thursday I traded in more beads for a pudding recipe, and this super adorable horse crown. While in the area I wanted to give Hayden some deviled eggs, where I saw that he was using a gold watering can. Where did you get that exactly? I guess that confirms gold tools in the future. For reaching town level 42, I got a new cosmetic item, being the Caldosian Traveler's Coat, which I immediately put on along with my star hair clips. Gotta keep up with the latest fashion standards, of course. The pudding I handed to Ayland, which again is something he requested weeks ago. Since I have the level 3 kitchen now, I bought all the cooking recipes available to me at the inn, along with some ingredients at the general store for more advanced recipes. Then I was back to gathering wood, and lastly I got my hands on the Empowered Blacksmithing perk, which makes any infusions more likely on crafted tools, weapons and armor. Day 82 I purchased 2 heart trees for the horses, gifted Juniper a crystal rose for her birthday, had a look at the collection tab in the museum and decided to spend my time in the deep earth levels this time. Don't really know why, to be honest, as I already found all of the different insects and fish, but I guess I was looking for silver ore. Being a Friday, I of course stopped by the inn later, also to hand out some gifts, and the conclusion for this season, the board game table was having shortcakes with tea. They didn't even play Lords of the Land, as Valen took it home last week and threw it into the river. Don't really know how to feel about littering, but they seem to be much more content without it. Maple learned that being a monarch isn't really the way to go, and declared that from now on, the Royal Council will take over. And the Dragon Guard crew found Dell's treasure, which was a rock under her bed. Seems about right. That night, it finally happened. I got my first tier 2 duck, and I think it's the purple mandarin one. I'm not sure, but I hope so. And I named her Jolan. Next day I focused on decorating my house a bit more. I bought a bakery dessert case and white stools from Mary, as well as a crafting recipe for a picnic blanket. I moved the kitchen to the fireplace spot, made a cottage plant shelf, created a little picnic area in front of the fruit trees, and later in the evening I maxed out my very first skill, which was of course in cooking. Day 84 I picked up the last fall harvest, received a letter from Hayden where he let me know that I can have his leftover animal feed he ordered. Never gonna say no to free items. So I stopped by Sweetwater Farm to say hello. Hayden told me that he's worried about Henrietta's temper and that it might cause her to lose some of her blue ribbons in the future. It's not always about winning, but I can see that bad manners in general are an issue, yes. My advice would be to get her to socialize more, and she seems to be happy about the suggestion I made. Also, I did get free quality animal feed after a cutscene. I really like that you sometimes get free items after the hard events. For donating some beads again, I got a cow halo, and I think this is my favorite accessory so far. Definitely. I really didn't do much else today. I ran around town handing out gifts, more wood gathering, and that's about it. Upon waking up the next morning, I saw that my farm was completely covered in snow. Winter sure came fast. Also, the winter theme is so good, I'm probably gonna have it in the background so that you guys can hear it as well. Hayden sent me a letter informing me that I can now buy alpacas and capybaras. On my way to the general store, I found a holly and a random ice block on the ground. I bought snow peas, daikon radish, cauliflower and beet seeds, as well as the only winter tree available to me, being a pomegranate sapling. Same as in fall, planting the seeds and fruit trees took basically the whole day, and I used the growth spell on the snow peas, as this is the only crop that regrows this season. Foraged the entire map with Mistbear, completed the grass, insect and winter flower set, then later in the evening I stopped by the forge to meet with Ulrich and March. Not really much to say about this cutscene. As per usual, March wasn't exactly thrilled to see me. However, after helping them out, he actually thanked me. Didn't expect that at all, but it seems like he's finally warming up to me. No pun intended. Day 86 was snowing. Funny enough, this counts as rain, so I didn't have to water my crops. Purchased a second pink cow and mallard dog, then spent the day fishing at the pond and at the river. On Wednesday I caught a frost butterfly, gave Dell the one chocolate bar that I had for her birthday, found a perfect emerald in the deep earth levels. I was mainly here to collect stone and essence, crafted a copper shovel before heading back home, and on day 88 I did the exact same thing, mining. The grinding paid well off as I had over 230 essence by the end of that trip, which might sound like a lot, but it's really not. With that I unlocked the lovable cooking perk, which has a chance to turn a cooked dish into a universal loved item, and a way to the heart, which fits perfectly with that. Got my first beats on 89, relaxed at the beach where I caught an oarfish, pufferfish, found an oyster shroom, and in the evening I warmed up at the Sleeping Dragon. Similar to summer, Reina is making weekly desserts where I get a free sample myself. This time she made berries and cream. Baylor, Nora, Rice, Errol, Adeline, and Celine have a detective club where Baylor brought an antique painting this time. No idea what that has to do with being a detective, but they seem to have a lot of fun. Elsie is this season's game master for dragons and drama, more focused on the drama part obviously. And lastly we have Luke, Dell, and Maple once again upstairs who play charade. While at Dean I also handed out more gifts since I really want to try and get as many cutscenes as possible before the end of this year. The following morning I received a letter from Juniper who let me know that she prepared a potion to test on me. Not really sure how to feel about that. The only thing I did that day was processing materials at the mill. This takes forever. Making 3 pieces of mayo already takes a whole in-game hour, but it is necessary as most of these are used for more advanced cooking. Sunday I got my first cauliflowers and then visited Juniper at the bathhouse. Let's get this over with. The potion she prepared for me uses a base of the spring water and she believes that this will give me the power of a dragon. That doesn't sound too bad. But of course, that was too good to be true. Instead, the elixir turned me into a horse. Now I understand why the quest was called Horsing Around. Very funny developers. I do look incredibly cute though. Juniper transformed me back into my human form and told me that I make an excellent test subject. Thanks, I guess? I had almost all the materials for the inn upgrade, however I am missing some glass and as far as I know this can only be farmed from specific enemies in the mines. So instead I purchased 10 of them from the carpenter. Yes, that might have been a waste of money, but I don't care. I've been grinding stone for so long and I don't want to go back into the mines anytime soon. After dropping everything off at the donation box, I wanted to turn in the request by talking to Adeline, but I completely overlooked the fact that I need 6,000 gold for that as well. That's an issue. I accepted a quest for Errol that day where he ordered an iron armor piece, so I made that for him, and it got the hasty infusion. Since I already had an iron chest piece on me, I swapped that out with the new one. I'm sure you won't mind the sweat and bloodstains. Monday the 8th was Hayden's birthday. He got one of my also precious golden eggs, which brought me up to 5 hearts with him. All the cooking I did yesterday evening meant that I had just enough money to complete the inn upgrade. Everyone in town was present and helped out. Landon, Rice, Marge and myself worked outside of the building. Celine Hayden brought some self-made planter boxes. Baylor and Ulrich lifted the heavy boxes inside, and Raina redecorated the interior together with the kids. This was the last major town request in the current early access stage of the game, and I'm really glad that I managed to do all of them. The shop inventory of the inn also got an upgrade. There's new recipes, dishes, and even furniture. For the inn expansion, I got a free mana potion from Adeline the next day. Apparently you can also find these in the mines. I finished a request for Aelin and Valen, who both gave me a new cooking recipe. Over the past 2 in-game days, I've been fishing quite a lot. Of course I want to try and finish the winterfish collection, but I got absolutely nothing new, just a whole bunch of treasure chests and turtles. But on 94, I at least completed the winter crop set, which gave me a sushi platter and summer table crafting recipes. Over at the carpenter, I bought the rustic cabin style furniture pack, purchased more cauliflower and daikon radish seeds, and upon going to bed that day I got my first tier 4 cow. I'm not gonna mention the baby animals anymore unless I buy a new animal that I haven't had before. Which I did on day 95. I bought 2 white rabbits, Yoshka and Zorik. I gave Errol a birthday present, spent a few in-game hours riding around town to look for new forage, did a bit of fishing in the evening where I found a water sphere, which was the last piece for the aquatic artifact set. On Friday I unlocked Living Off the Land, my first tier 3 skill point in farming, where harvesting a crop will occasionally drop a cooked dish that uses the crop. I spent a brief amount of time in the upper levels of the mines where I finally found a copper nugget beetle. Uncommon, my ass. I've been looking for this insect for ages. Further down at the deep earth levels, I dug up a seriously square stone. With that finished the upper mines insect and deep earth artifact collection. Later at the inn, I was finishing requests and handing out gifts again, and before heading to bed I made another wooden chest, which leveled up my crafting skill to 14. The gift giving paid off the next morning as I got 3 new heart letters, one from Adeline, her brother Eland, and Baylor. I gave Darcy some fresh milk for her birthday, made a silver leg plate at the smithy, processed mayo and cheese at the mill, which I wanted to use for cooking at the inn, but forgot that this prompted a cutscene with Baylor. Hemlock told me to wait in his room upstairs for him. Next to his bed was Baylor's diary, which mostly contains texts about his shipments that he transports to Mistria. Not as spicy as I thought it would be. I honestly can't really tell you what this cutscene was about. He thinks that Mistria will become a major influence in Eldaria once the town recovers, and is certain that he can make a lot of money here. Good for you, I guess? I keep forgetting that Baylor is the one who picks up my shipments every day, and he just said that I should keep doing what I am doing. That's it. After that I was occupied at the kitchen to make more cooked dishes. You see, I have decided that I want to upgrade my house. The money is easy enough, but once again I need a buttload of materials for that. Since I'd rather use the wood and stone for crafting, I thought, why not just buy the materials directly? I know, big brain. So on day 98, I made as many dishes as I could. I also got 2 golden cheesecakes from the chicken statue, which sells for 2,500 gold. Insane. Since it was snowing again, I tried my luck with fishing and actually got a king crab at the beach, one step closer to finishing the winter sets. The cooking definitely paid off as I made over 8,000 gold that day. I was kinda rich, but only for a brief moment unfortunately. I made my way over to the carpenter where I bought 400 stone and 100 wood, which was actually way more expensive than I thought. I know that some people probably think that that was a waste of money, but honestly I didn't really have anything else to spend it on anyways. And of course I bought the house upgrade. In the current early access version there's actually 3 house upgrades already. The first one makes the house just a bit bigger, and the second and third one both add new rooms. While at the carpenter I got a cutscene with Rice, who was reading up on the birds that used to live in the old birdhouse by the ruins, who seemed to be Mistrium bluebirds. To be able to build a new house for them, we first need a new tree of course, and he wants to plant a hawthorn seed. So we headed over to the ruins and planted one. Next time we can focus on making the birdhouse. Now that my own house is a lot bigger, I was busy with decorating. While I do enjoy the pieces of the rustic cabin style more, I thought it would be best to make the remaining furniture of the cottage set, since again I don't have that much wood available. I crafted a bigger bed, which pushed me to level 15 in wood crafting, and on day 100 I was still busy with decorating. I put in a sofa, made a little kitchen area, and in the evening I was pretty much done. It still looks a bit naked here and there, but I was completely out of wood by now, so I'll be adding a few more things later on. Since it was snowing again that day, I did a bit of fishing before bed, where I caught a dace by the river and a flathead catfish by the pond. Next day I donated all the new fish and completed the winter ocean fish set. On my way to the dig site I found a walking stick insect, then met with Aelin to continue our search for more dragon soren pieces. During the cutscene we were looking near those pretty pink trees, which made me wonder if these are gonna be available in a future update as saplings for the farm. And shortly after, we found the Dragonsoren helmet. Aelin thanked me for the help and went back to his office to study the armor piece. Bought more cauliflower and peat seeds at the general store, and purchased 2 sheep from Hayden since I need their wool for more advanced crafting recipes. I rode over to the manor house on the morning of day 102, where I found my last winter forageable, a rose hip. These are located to the right side of the manor in an area which looks to be a potential future wedding spot maybe? For reaching town level 48, I got a Caldosian traveler's head, which completed my outfit. Makes me feel like a witch at Hogwarts. For a good chunk of the day, I rode back and forth between the river and pond to the west side of the farm because this resets the spawn points of the fish. I know this is a bit cheaty, but we're getting closer to the end of the season and I really want to finish the winter museum collections. I'm specifically looking for larger shadows in the water, and later in the evening I found one, which was an alligator gar. And on Friday I did the same thing, all day. I also donated the rosehip, which finished the winter forage set, and after a bit of time I found the last pondfish, which was a giant tilapia. 104 I purchased the summit wallpaper and purple candles from Mary, 2 more cooking recipes from the inn, then gave Valen some peach she requested for her work. At the clinic she showed me around her basement, where she explained to me that her family have been doctors for generations who made many contributions to the science of medicine, like the substance she gave to Hayden last time. However, Valen doesn't know the recipe to make more of the panacea, that's why she asked me for the peat, and this is her 312th attempt on it. I offered to try it out so that she can take notes. I mean, I'm already volunteering for Juniper, how bad can it be? And it was pretty bad. I passed out. Unfortunately, Valen had to use the last bit of panacea on me, but at least we now know that this batch also didn't work. Progress is progress, I guess. After my near-death experience, I went down into the Tide Caverns to collect some ore, but also to look for new artifacts and treasure chests, as I unlocked a new skill that lets me find crafting recipes in the mines. Before going back home, I finished the Tide Cavern artifact and forage set, which gave me a few new furniture sets, like this explorer suitcase and a summer jar lamp. I didn't really do that much on Sunday. I reached 6 hearts with Hayden, had a look at the large animal buildings at the Carpenter, which I unlocked after reaching level 40 in ranching, but they're a bit too expensive for me at the moment, and was mostly occupied with looking for that one river fish I'm still missing. The next day I got an invitation from Hayden to start socializing Henrietta. As I had nothing else to do, I headed over to the general store where I met with both of them. Hayden brought a picnic basket, and Henrietta was allowed to choose her own snack to bring, which was a piece of quality corn. Then we headed over to the pond to set everything up. A bit chilly for a picnic, isn't it? The kids showed up shortly after and asked if Henrietta wants to play in the mud with them. I don't know where there's any mud around at this time of the year, but I don't care either because now I've finally got some quality time with Hayden alone. Aren't we just adorable? Earlier that day I bought new accessories for my animals, like this super stylish mushroom cap for the sheeps or a top hat for the rabbits. Was looking again for that river fish. At that point I didn't realize that I need to look for medium-sized fish. I thought it was a large shadow, so I probably could have caught it a lot sooner if I did a bit of more research before. Oh well. On day 107, I gifted Hemlock a glass of white wine for his birthday, was mostly at the mill to process some items, and yet again, more fishing. The following morning, I visited Celine at her cottage to take a look at the seedling that we found back in summer. Despite her ongoing care, the seed hasn't been growing since my last visit. Her sister Dale came in shortly after to let us know that her mom made a cherry cobbler, and I suggested to bring the sprout along with us so that he can have a change of scenery. Over at Holt's and Nora's place, we all sat down at the table. Holt made his usual puns, which I absolutely adore, and what do you know? The plant began to grow again. A lot actually. No idea what happened here, but I guess the plant has a thing for cherry cobbler. Today, it finally happened. After numerous days of fishing, I caught a shadow bass. I donated it to the museum along with some artifacts and the giant tilapia, and finished the winter river and pond fish set. No more fishing this season, thank you very much. Thursday I made a few more furniture pieces for the house, like those 2 wooden bookcases, so that the corner doesn't look that empty anymore. It's coming along very nicely. As I stepped outside, I caught a snowball beetle, another legendary insect. And speaking about insects, I am missing one for the winter collection, which was a crystal caterpillar. These can be found during a blizzard, so I spent the day riding around Mistria in hopes of finding one. This was the last blizzard during that season, which means I cannot finish the winter bug collection. It is what it is. 110 was focused on getting requests done, as I am very close to reaching the next town rank. I also made an iron watering can and shovel, which I should have done a long time ago. Was looking for overworld dig spots to find new artifacts, tested out my new shovel at the farm, and in the evening I was back at the inn, one last time for this season. Hayden brought his finest ingredients that day, which were used to make golden cookies, which sell for a whopping 2,110 gold. That's crazy. As I mentioned before, the kids have been playing charade, and this time all 3 of them played together and mimicked me, the farmer. It was pretty accurate as well. My favorite was from Dell, and I quote, "Everyone is obsessed with me, not yet, but soon. Running out of money because I'm building barns," very accurate, and passing out at 2 AM. Now, I can proudly say that I have in fact not passed out yet, well besides Juniper and Balin nearly killing me, but that doesn't count. Again, I love these little interactions every week at the inn. I'm always looking forward to them. My hard work paid off that evening as we reached town rank Sapphire. At the Saturday market I bought more decorations from Mary's stall, purchased a lark coop from the carpenter which I swapped out with the medium one. Now I have space for up to 12 coop animals. Then bought 2 capybaras, Rosario and Gale. Look how cute they are. And that brings us to day 112, the final day of winter. I finished the Eldarian artifact set, and while I'm here I can show you my museum progress. Archaeology has the least amount of donations, but I at least managed to complete all of the cave level sets. I am missing 3 fish in spring and the legendary ones, though legendary fish can only be found after unlocking a specific skill point, which I didn't know until after recording this. The flora section is almost at 100%, which is really irritating as I am missing 1 single item in spring. Oh well. And lastly we have the insects, where there's also missing quite a few, but I managed to get my hands on 2 legendary ones, so that's pretty cool. Later I chilled outside with my animals. I'm very proud of all the color variations I got, and as you can see I have a thing for pink and purple. Here's a quick overview of my farmhouse. I really enjoyed decorating in this game, I think even more than in Stardew if I'm being honest. If we take a look at the skill tree, I maxed out both cooking and also animal husbandry, which is definitely my favorite part about the game. Woodcrafting and fishing could definitely use a buff in experience gain in my opinion. I spent a lot of in-game days just fishing and I'm only at level 26, which means I haven't even unlocked the tier 3 skill points for that. As I said before, we're currently at town rank Sapphire level 50 and I believe there's actually 2 more ranks in the early access version, but I'm not sure about that. But yeah, that does it for Fields of Mistria. I really appreciate the few people who watched each individual episode that I released over the past few weeks. It means a lot to me. I had so much fun playing this game, and I'm gonna wait for the next bigger update and then probably continue on this save file, as right now there isn't really that much else to do. Sure, I could upgrade my house again and buy a few more animals, but without any main story quest, I think that would be kinda boring to watch. If you know any other games that would be perfect for a 100 days video, then feel free to leave a comment down below, I love reading them. Again, thank you so much for watching, and see you in the next video.